4.3, solve factored equations. What is factored form? Factored form is when an expression or equation is already factored and set equal to 0. So our whole goal this unit is to be able to factor expressions, polynomials, get them into their little pieces, like their linear pieces, or sometimes they're quadratic, and then be able to solve each piece. So it might have something pulled out here in front. It might have parentheses, but what you're going to be doing is setting each factor that has an x equal to 0 in solving. So you get multiple answers. So go ahead and find this next page, page 3. It says solve each equation for all values of x. Okay, so see how this is factored? Factored means we could FOIL and multiply. But we don't want to do that because that would just create unnecessary work. What I want to do is I'm going to split up every factor that I see. So x plus 8 is a factor, 4x plus 1 is a factor. I'm trying to make this whole equation equal 0. So if I could find a number for x that when added to 8 makes this 0, 0 times whatever this is would become 0. Same thing for this x. If I could figure out what makes this expression become 0, when I multiply it by this piece, it would become 0 altogether. So that's really the purpose of this. So I'll put x plus 8 equals 0. We should be really fast at solving these. I just subtract 8, so it actually becomes x equals negative 8. Okay, this one, 4x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract the 1. That'd be negative 1 divided by 4. Can't simplify. So let's put x equals, and we'll make a solution set. It doesn't really matter which way you write it. Most of the time I try to go smallest answer to biggest, but Delta Math will take it either way. So negative 8 and negative 1/4 are our solutions. All right, number 2. See how this negative x is pulled out in front? That's actually going to get a solution. And then I have another factor here. So I'm going to get 3 different answers. Negative x, set it equal to 0. You can divide by, there's a negative 1 here, but 0 divided by negative 1 is still 0. So there's one answer. X minus 9 equals 0. You just add 9, so x would equal 9. And then this one, I would subtract the 9 over. So we get to thinking to where you could speed yourself up. This is now going to be a negative 9 on the other side. Divide by 4. And I'm just going to leave it negative 9/4. And proper fractions are okay. So my answers altogether are, if I want to put them in order, negative 9/4, 0, and 9, with these nice curly brackets around it. So again, if I were to take any of these numbers and plug them in, it would make this whole problem 0. So if this were 0, that would be a negative 0, which is 0. 0 times everything else is 0. If this were 9, 9 minus 9 would make 0, so it doesn't matter what the rest is, it makes 0. All right, and then number 3, I picked this one because I wanted to show you that we have a negative 2 in front, which is just a number. There's no way that I can get an answer out of that, because I would simply have negative 2 equal to 0, and that's not true. So anytime you have just a number in front, that is not going to be an answer, only if it has x with it. Okay, so don't even worry about that one. Then I would have x plus 3 equals 0. Hopefully you're realizing that's just negative 3 is your answer. And then this one would be 7x. You would subtract the 5 from 0, making it negative 5 divided by 7, which is negative 5/7. So my solutions are just negative 3 and negative 5/7. Okay, next section, still in factored form. My factors are my 2x plus 7 and my x squared minus 15. I'm going to set each one equal to 0. Solve, so I'd subtract the 7. Now it's negative. Divide by 2. So I get negative 7/2, which is really negative 3.5. Okay, next one. Set it equal to 0. I'm going to add the 15 over. Right, plus, so that'd be 15. Then I square root to get x alone. Remember that when I square root, I get positive and negative versions. 15 can't be broken down, so I'll just keep it square root of 15. So my solutions are negative 7/2 and positive and negative square roots of 15. There should be that little plus or minus button on Delta Math. If not, you could put them in as two separate answers where you have square root of 15 and negative square root of 15. Either way is fine. All right, number 5, we've got this negative 3 in front. Remember, since it doesn't have an x, we don't even have to worry about that one. We need to get solutions to what x is going to be. So 49x squared minus 64 equals 0. I would add the 64 over. Now it's positive. Divide away the 49. So get x squared equals 64 over 49. You should be noticing both those numbers are perfect squares. So when I square root this whole fraction, it becomes plus or minus 8/7. Because square root of 64 is 8, square root of 49 is 7. There's one of the answers, or actually two of the answers. And then this one, I'm going to be adding the 5 over to 0, so now it's positive, square rooting both sides. So I get positive and negative square root of 5 can't be broken down. So my answers are a positive and a negative 8/7 and a positive and a negative square root of 5. So those are irrational, but they're real. Now we're going to look at the non-real or the imaginary solutions, but all this is very much the same. Okay, number 6. I have an answer here for x that I'm going to get here and here. So 3 different things I need to solve. Negative 2x, set it equal to 0. You can divide away the negative 2, but 0 divided by anything is still 0. This one, I'm going to add the 5 over, making it positive, and then I'll square root both sides. I get positive and negative square root of 5. And then this one, since it's x squared plus 1 equal to 0, you're going to subtract 1, making it x squared equals negative 1. Then I would have to square root both sides. Square and square root cancel to give me x. Square root of negative 1, that is the definition of what I is, right? Square root of 1 is 1, but since it's a negative, makes it imaginary, so it's just plus or minus I. So my solutions in any order are 0, positive and negative square root of 5, positive, negative I. All right, and number 7, I'm going to pause it and let you try it. Okay, the 3, you could set it equal to 0, but since there's nothing to solve for and that's not true, that's out. It's not an answer. This, you would add the 64 to the 0, so it's positive. Square root 64 is positive negative 8. And then this one is almost the same, except for it's a plus 64, so I would subtract it from 0, getting negative 64. Square root of that is plus or minus 8i. So those are my answers, positive negative 8 and positive negative 8i.